So, I was at the Royal Ascot the other day with my good friend Tarquin, and he introduced me to something called a podcast. I'd never heard of such a thing before. It sounded like something the peasants would listen to, especially down in areas such as Slough. Anyway, when he suggested I listen to a group called Life Is Such, I thought, you, sir, are an absolute cockwomble. You'd be lucky if I didn't slap you with my glove. But I took his advice and gave it a listen, and I must say, it was the most wondrous thing I'd ever listened to. Indubitably. Chord, 3, 1, clap.
Yeah, okay.
Better done it on clap, Callum.
Right, go, Will.
Hello everybody, welcome back to episode 8 of the Life As Such podcast, joined again today by Callum and Tom, as always. How are we, lads?
Very good,
I'm
very
okay,
good.
thank you.
I've been better, not gonna lie, we just spent the best part of... We had a good like 7 minutes into this episode, and Callum's internet dropped, so me and Tom took it upon ourselves as good hosts to carry on, and then Callum suddenly joined back into the Discord, and cancelled the call. Cancelled the audio. So
Fuck off.
so we just had like a good 7 minutes of talking about
It's not my fault.
semen
I'm
retention
sorry.
and porn.
Don't know how we got onto that topic.
You'll see the link in a minute. Callum, just go straight into the story.
Okay, right, so I've got news stories. First one comes from Deutschland. Germany has a far-right political group called Alternative for Germany, which is basically New Age Nazis.
Woo!
And this news article starts off with, German far-right politic party wants to prohibit masturbation amongst youth because it takes away their masculinity. And
There's the link if you were wondering.
Users in Germany have started using the trend masturbate against the AfD.
Okay, so here's the
this
is the link I was just referring to. I was saying in the previous 7 minutes that if anything, like stopping masturbation and semen retention, all that stuff has like actual scientific benefits, like in terms of testosterone production and stuff like that. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but the whole like #NoFap movement is like an actual thing with scientific evidence to back it up. As long as you're not like noshing yourself off and splurting everywhere. Like I think it's only like if you only ejaculate when you have sex has more of a mental benefit than it would if you're just doing it yourself, like in your room. You know what I mean? And I know that watching porn has like a negative effect on how your brain's wired, which is why it's like an addiction to some people.
It makes you think porn sex is what real sex should
Yeah,
be,
and that's
like,
why
not.
If you look at like kids nowadays, I'm actually worried for when they become like more and more. I see that like more and more people now are getting pregnant at a younger age, and it's kind of concerning. I don't know why that's just popped into my
There's
head.
that, and there's like young people thinking sex involves like jizzing on women's faces and stuff like that. No.
Is that Russell Howard?
Sign
just
in your
spat on
camera.
my
Yes, that
face!
Russell Howard.
Mum,
Yeah,
you
spat
spaffed on my face. Don't spaff on my
Oh.
face.
Don't spaff on my face.
Please don't spaff on my face, Dad.
Please, no, it's in my eyes.
Dad?
Uncle
Wait, what?
Johnny, don't spaff on my face again.
Oh god, right, okay, I'm gonna continue
Yes,
about
sorry.
this article just because this went weird. So this came from the Youth Party branch.
You can't say youth after we've been talking about spaffing on faces.
Shut up. So in Germany they have youth parties for their political parties, so it's a separate branch that allows younger people to get into politics. By youth it's more people like our age, like their younger 20s.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Sort of like 18 from up.
First time someone's called me youth in a long time.
Youth.
I got ID'd
You're young,
I got
boy.
ID'd for a month the other day, and I felt like youth then. Fucking hell,
Oh yeah, that happened to me the other day.
bro! I got a massive fucking
Really?
beard, and the woman that ID'd me went to school with me.
What a dick.
It's like I was in your class, you
Yeah.
twat. Ding.
But yeah, so the Youth Party deputy Thomas Deutscher, which I think is a brilliant name.
What a patriotic name.
Although that could be a Google Translate error. I don't know. But anyway, so he states that masturbation has now assumed proportions that go far beyond natural needs. Masturbation should therefore be ceased in general, as it deprives one of creative energy, many nutrients, and male strength. Wasting all those proteins shooting your loads, lads.
Wait,
We've
he's
got a fair
definitely.
point, though.
This just reeks of like a man that had the snip. He was forced to have the snip.
His missus,
and now his
put
missus
down.
has left, and he's just trying to ruin it for everyone else.
I can see his point, but it gets to a point where it becomes like an excessive sort of like addiction.
But what are you? You can't stop it. Like, I swear,
It is a part of life, but then
I
again,
swear,
it's taken
yeah.
to the
So
extremes as
I
well.
swear, I'm gonna beat myself out a little bit here. So
Don't beat yourself off.
No.
We're on a podcast, Will.
too late. Boom. No, I
Boom.
swear.
Big
So
man.
when I was like during my teenage years, right, when I was looking through all this stuff, right, as you're a teenager, everyone does, right. There was that I always used to see there's like 18. Click here if you're 18 or older.
Yeah, you can just click
Oh
it.
yeah,
though.
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure.
You could just click
I'm
it.
pretty sure nowadays they don't even have that click if you're 18 or older
No.
thing. It's not even there anymore.
No, they do. They do for some sites,
Hold on a minute.
Which ones?
but like
Do tell, Callum.
so. No. Like just on some sites, but with like porn sites, it used to be. You had to like click on it if you're 18 or older, but they don't even do that anymore. You just literally go on the
You
site.
just go on the site and it's there, and it's
the
weird.
the only like real things for age restriction now is when you're buying like 18 rated games. So if your profile isn't fully set up on things like say like Steam or Origin or something like that, where like you can save what your date of birth is. If you're going on to an age 18 plus game, or is it M rated or R rated
R-rated.
in America, something like that? R rated. That's
Rated
it.
R. For retard.
Rated R. Yeah, like you have to. Basically, you get given like drop-down menus to put in your date of birth, and that's it. So you could easily bypass it. Like,
Yeah, it was like when we made Facebook. Like everyone made Facebook accounts. I was like 10. I'm pretty sure you had to be like 14 to have one. I was like, yeah, well, fuck you guys. You don't know how old I am. I put my date
I'm
of birth
pretty
as
sure
like
I had a Facebook account at like 12.
my old. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember because you made one and you got me onto it because we were in year like 5.
Yeah.
you
I'm
got
pretty
me
sure my
onto it.
first post was something about Aaron McLaughlin dancing with Mr. Sam.
Yeah, I remember because you were like, I'm going to post this on Facebook when I go home. It was at the disco. And then like 5 minutes later, I got concussion because Jack Reeve was moonwalking and collided into me.
Oh, good old Jack.
But like, I remember making a Facebook thing, right? And I put my date of birth to like 1977 or some shit like that. And I remember a couple years later, I got like a notification. It was like, happy 50th birthday. And it showed my profile photo or something. And I was like, what? I might have been 40th. It was probably 40th. And it was like,
Yeah.
happy 40th birthday. And it was my profile photo. And I was like, right, this is time to make a new account. So I just made a new Facebook account, my actual date of birth. I was like, fuck it. This is weird, man. I'm not 40. Fuck off. It's like a picture of 13-year-old me, like, happy 40th birthday. And all my mates were like, ha ha ha, you're 40, you old cunt. I was like, yeah, this ain't it, lads. I was in like year 8 at the time. I was like, this ain't it. I can't do this anymore.
you're 40. You've not even hit puberty yet.
Mate, I don't even want to get into that. But like, the day my voice dropped, yeah, my mum thought.
I don't want to.
No,
know.
listen. The day my voice dropped, my mum thought that I was Jake. I'm not lying.
Jake's
Because-
always had quite a deep
Because
voice,
Jake, yeah,
hasn't he?
Jake's voice
He
dropped
hit
in like,
puberty back in like year
yeah,
5.
Jake's voice dropped in like year 5, and everyone was like, "What the fuck happened to you?" And I remember I was in like year 8, and Jake had been around like the day before, and then my mum went to work, and I hadn't seen her for like 2 days because our times were just like clashing, so I didn't really get to see her. Like she'd come home from work, go to bed, whatnot. I wasn't here, and then I saw her on like the Friday, and I came in from football, and I was like, "Hiya," and she went, "Oh, Jake, hello, mate," and I went, "No." I had like a really, when it first starts to go, you're like really croaky.
Yeah.
I said, "No." She came in, she said, "Oh, your voice is breaking." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
I think that's the highest I've ever heard your voice go.
Fuck you, Callum, you cunt. Mate, it's never getting higher than that. And now I've got like, my voice has broke like 3 times in total. And now I have a hella deep voice, but I can still go like really high pitched. Not as high as Callum in the that fucking priest introduction. Oh my Christ.
Yeah, that was something.
It fucking hurts. doesn't it, though?
That's funny, man.
That's best intro. Also, if I triggered anyone in our last episode. Sorry, not sorry. So, with that, on to the next.
Swiftly moving on.
Sorry.
Swiftly moving forward.
Basically, I find it really funny, which is why I'm classing it as funny news. What's been happening in Texas? Have you boys seen what's going on over there?
I
know they've got massive like fucking short like power outages and hunger and all that shit, and then the fucking was it like a senator went on holiday or some shit?
So basically,
I have no idea what's going on. I thought it was snowing.
The state of Texas for years has been trying to they've basically tried to do what Cornwall tried to do.
By
independent.
We're not a part
America
of
anymore.
like we want to be independent. Blah blah blah. We don't need no government help. Fuck
but aren't
you.
they like? Aren't they like? I know they're set like they're the most southern state, but aren't they like in the middle of America?
They're at the bottom, aren't they?
Yeah, I know they're at the bottom, but like they're at the central.
Towards the bottom.
They're still central.
They're the biggest part of America, I think. Like
Yeah, there's like the UK.
They border Mexico.
The UK fits into America like 17 times, doesn't it? Or
It's ridiculous.
Something stupid like that.
It.
Yeah.
It's so small, bro.
But they became even more like, oh, we want to be independent when Biden got in power, and then
Biden.
Joe Biden.
So part of this independence has led to them having their own national grid, essentially. So
Clearly it's not
majority of the
working.
states in America, they all run off the same grid, and it's very high powered. And you know, a lot of these states have power, whereas with Texas, it's their own grid, and they had a huge power outage during the midst of a horrific winter.
Yeah.
Like a really bad one as well. So they had no heating, no electricity, no ovens, no nothing. People were having to boil water over fires in order to have hot drinks or to just warm packet food up, stuff like that. So the only reason I'm finding it funny is because it's ironic. Yeah. The only reason I'm finding it funny is because it's ironic, because they're now trying to turn to the mainland government going, oh, can we have help?
It is ironic, but at the end of the day, you can't exactly turn around and just be like, no, you can't have food, so half your population's going to die.
No, yeah.
Because that's like a very communist thing to do.
What's her name? She's very liberal. I can't remember her name, but her initials are AOC. She's all for like everyone has equal rights, no student loans, no nothing like that. And she managed to raise $3 million in aid of people living in Texas, and she's gone over there to help volunteer at soup kitchens and stuff like that, so that she can help feed the populace.
How are they warming these soups up?
Despite the fact that Republicans, which Texas is a Republican state, view people like her as evil and wanting to take away their rights when she's actually helping them out. So, all in all, though, what's happened is their governor, who's in charge of the state, Ted Cruz,
Went to Cancun, didn't he?
basically, he posted online that everybody basically needs to shut up and get on with their lives, and I'm not even joking. Like, if you read, you can find it online, if you can read what he put, it is disgusting. No senator or person in power should ever put that to their people.
Say? Like, what's his name?
Ted Cruz. So, hang on.
Oh, C-U-R-Z.
Yeah.
Okay, Ted Cruz. I want to see what he said.
It was horrific. But what he ended up doing was he fled Texas to Mexico, leaving everyone in power and leaving his dog at home alone.
Wow. Man just went to Cancun for a week.
Dickhead. Absolute.
That's it. Yeah,
dickhead.
Cancun.
That was a guess, by the way.
Yeah. So he. No, it was to Mexico. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Cancun is
Confused me,
in
how
Mexico. I'm pretty sure. But I'm just saying, he went to Cancun as a laugh.
Is Cancun in Mexico?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cancun trip.
He actually went to Cancun.
Yeah, well done, Will.
That's a guess.
Not like
Yeah.
I said it twice.
So yeah, he basically just went, fuck you lot, went to Cancun, and put up that horrific post online, basically telling everyone to sit down, shut up, and just get on with their lives. It's not that bad. And he was basically saying trying to get help is a very communist thing to do because he's a retard.
Yes.
So I reckon with the next election, Texas is definitely going to be on the blue side of politics after all of this.
I feel like
methinks.
this. I don't know why this came to my head. I feel like Scotland had their vote for independence.
They had.
I feel like if they had it again, they'd definitely be independent. And I feel like in 5-10 years' time, a similar thing would happen. And they'd come to us and be like, "Oh,
you know what happened with that? You know what happened with that? They wanted to do another vote for it because it wasn't a referendum.
No, I heard it.
So they were able to have a vote for it. However, because England's government is the one that controls Scotland and Wales, despite the fact that they have their own sub-governments, but overall we control theirs, we basically turned around and went, no.
Fuck you guys.
Which is disgusting.
Yeah, but
and
horrible.
horrible.
Oh well. As Ted, as a great man once said, "Get on with your lives."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing
Suck
is
it up.
though, the majority of the vote. So if you look back at Brexit, majority of people in Scotland, it was quite a high percentage as well, voted to remain in the EU. However, because we take everyone we own with us, their votes didn't matter. Basically, it was really bad. So it could have been a situation where, like, Wales and Scotland could have stayed in the EU, and we just left. But no, we brought every fucker down with us.
But
which is
they count it as just a
horrible.
one nation, don't they? They don't count individual countries.
Yeah, which is stupid, honestly. And this stuff like that is the reason why the Scottish and the Welsh hate the English.
Yeah.
Can't blame them though.
When people go like, I don't understand why every time I've gone up to Scotland, the Scottish don't treat me very nicely. It's just like, well, why do you think?
No. So I'm on that side of I don't understand because it's not. It's
well,
not
yeah,
the
like,
English people.
It's not
It's
our
not the
fault.
English people. So I got abused when I went to Scotland a couple of years back, and it's not my fault. I'm English. Like, it's not me that's fucking your life up. It's the government. Fuck you, man. I went to when I was 14. I went to must have been 16. I went to Scotland to see my family, right? So my dad's brother and that. And they live in a little town called Bucky. It's like a little seaside town. And there is, I think it was an Audi. It was an Audi or a Lidl. They both looked the same. And I went there one day with my cousin Josh. And I walked in. And I've told this story before, Callum. This little kid came past me with a scooter and nearly hit me. And I went, "Oh, sorry, buddy." He must have been about 12, right? He went, "Fuck you, you wee English cunt!" And I was like, right. So I carried him walking. And he held abuse at me. And then I went into, and this isn't really anything to do with me being English, but this is the abuse I got. I went into Lidl/Audi, whichever one it was. I had like a Lucid and a couple of bits that I put down the thing. And the woman, it was quite a warm day, believe it or not, in Scotland. And I rolled my sleeve up, and I had a Help for Heroes band on. And this woman refused to say. She was like a Muslim lady, like a Scottish woman with a head scarf thing. What are they called? Hijab. There, yeah. And she refused to serve me. And I was like, she didn't even speak to me either. And I was like, why are you refusing? Like, she just like shut the till. And I went, what's the problem? And she just pointed at the band. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I spoke to a manager who was English, luckily enough. He came and spoke to me. And then he brought her back out. And she spoke to me then and said, "Your people are killing my people." And I went, "Well, your people are killing my people." Works both ways. Like, it's not that no British people have died. But you're starting wars. And I went, well, I didn't. In my head, I was like, some of you are terrorists. Like,
it's a very subjective perception.
Like that, and that's the whole thing with English.
I think let's not get.
Oh no! One more thing. This isn't about race or anything now. What Tom said about perception is right when it comes to like Scottish people, Irish people, Welsh people hating the English. It's literally just their perception of it because it's what they see. Like English people don't like. There's a stereotype of like English people hate Irish people because of what happened 500 years ago, 600 years ago. Like, some of my best friends are Irish. Like, I don't give a fuck where you're from. If you're a nice person, we'll get along. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't doubt there are some dickheads that are Irish, but then there are dickheads from every country in the world. In fact, I think English people can be some of the most stuck-up, arrogant people on the planet at times.
Without
Oh,
a fucking
yeah,
Without
definitely.
a doubt, we are one of the most miserable nations in the fucking world, and it's outrageous.
That's why I love places like Bristol, because it's so close to Wales. They've got that like influence.
Yeah, it's funny.
So
Bristol
like
class,
a lot of people in Bristol are just lovely, whereas in this part of England, everyone's so stuck up their own arse. It's
What we're saying, boys,
horrific.
Bristol
I hate it.
2021. Us three.
Hell yeah, boy.
Just us three.
Yeah, boy.
Right, let's get on to the final news story.
Final news story. There was a flight leaving. That left.
No, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
What?
About the plane that had the engine fire, right? Yeah. That was nuts.
Yeah. So it was a return flight to Denver International Airport, and its right side engine exploded. Basically,
Where was it coming from? Because in the video, there's a video online, isn't there, of it? Someone filmed it like a passenger, and it looked like they were over sand. And I know for a fact that weren't fucking Denver.
No, it was a return flight to
Yeah,
Denver.
but that's what I mean. Where were they coming from?
So it was currently en route to Honolulu when that happened.
Well, Hawaii.
Oh no, yeah, no. Yeah, large piece of engine, Broomfield, Colorado. So Denver's in Colorado. So basically the engine blew up in Colorado.
Jesus Christ.
And in Broomfield was where a lot of the wreckage from the engine fell down.
Yeah.
There's this cracking picture
The thing up against the house.
of the the outer ring right outside someone's house. How lucky is that person that piece of debris landed outside their front door, not on the house?
I saw that earlier because I was eating dinner, and where we sit at the dinner table, like adjacent to the other side of the room, is a TV, so you can't really see it, but you can hear it, and you can only see it if you're sat on one side of the table. And my dad just started laughing, and like, what's so funny? And he went, "You better come and look at this." We rewinded it, and the fucking thing is literally sat just outside this house, just like leant up, almost leant up against it. That's how close it was. It was ridiculous.
But thankfully, the plane landed safely with no injuries.
It's a miracle.
No deaths, no
That is a
nothing.
miracle.
Yeah.
So fucking props to the pilot manning that plane, man.
Not playing out.
I'd hate to have been in his position.
It's going to be another film about a pilot landing a fucking flight. Oh.
Yeah. But mate, that one was good though. The one with Tom Hanks in, that was good.
It's a good film.
But I know I said 3 news stories, but I've got one more very quickly. All these so with Trump, you've got all of these all of this stuff going on about him. And the latest news story was an ex-KGB agent has stated that he has been an asset to Russia since 1987.
Big boy money moves.
But I guess you could say it's backed up by all of the calls he was having with Putin and stuff like that.
Maybe just
and the fact that one of his ex-advisors came out saying there was a time where he missed a call from Putin and he was red in the face, like he was fuming
Well, they
that he'd missed the call. So that is sort of backed up by it, but it's one of those things where it's almost conspiracy theory like, because it's one of those situations where you don't know if that ex-KGB agent is just trying to stir shit, or if it's true. So I'm not going to go too much into detail about it because I don't want to make us sound like it's a conspiracy theory or make us sound like we're idiots or anything like that, because the problem is with something like that is it can be true, it might not be true. It's so difficult with something like that. We can't delve too much into it because
Trump.
You never know. After reading that article, we might all end up with tinfoil hats.
Trump
don't know.
I've always got one ready.
Trump was fuming that he missed the call because Putin promised him a sesh and he rang them to organise it, and Trump missed it. So I'd be fuming too. I bet Putin gets down with the best of him.
Yes. With that square bod of his.
Yes. Oh god, that man is such a cracker. Anyway, 25 minutes in, let's get into the actual topic of today. Now, if you listened last week, you'll know your boy's a semi-TikTok man. And I've been making a lot of videos recently about...
Your boy's a semi-TikTok man.
I've been making a lot of videos recently about TikTok and vegans and America. And I've gotten a lot of flack, and I think it's a great opportunity to talk about that. So we're going to be talking, if you listened last week, you'll know we're talking about veganism. And more specifically, not so much veganism, just vegans themselves.
And we're talking about the extreme vegans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Quick disclaimer. Like last week, it's all our opinions, always will be our opinions. There are a couple of facts in here. Me being a man of science and the body and stuff, I'm quite interested in nutrition, so I'll get into a couple of facts about that. But these are all solely our opinions. Everyone's opinion is their own, and no one speaks for anyone else here. But we are focusing solely on the really extreme, like Tom said, the really extreme vegans, like the people that protest or go outside. You see them standing outside like butchers with fucking signs and shit. Those types of people that go on parades and stuff. Those types of people we're talking about. Not the people that just calmly live their lives not eating meat.
Not being bothered about it.
Yeah, not normal people.
The worst protest group of them all, PETA.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Just fuck
But
off.
just very quickly as well, would it be really funny if when we actually end up getting if we ever end up getting in like lots of listeners, if this is the one that triggers people the most and not last episode?
I'll laugh. So
I think this.
So would I.
I think on a scale of 1 to triggered,
1 to vegan.
1 to trigger.
this will be like. This will be triggered, and the religion one probably like a 7, because I think a large majority of religious people even agree with what we say sometimes, but you can't. What was that said? It was like, sticks and stones may break my bones.
But there'll be always things to offend.
But the priest will try to.
No, it was like sticks and stones will break my bones, but there'll always be something to upset a vegan or something like that.
There will all be words to offend a feminist, I think it was.
Yeah, something along those lines for a vegan. It was like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but there's always something to offend a vegan. And it's true. But before we get into it, I want to split. So, I'm a big fan of nutrition. A big part of my university course is nutrition. And I'm a fan of the gym and bodybuilding and weightlifting and whatnot. So I'm really interested in like the minerals and the micronutrients and the macronutrients of the body. Okay, I want to spout out a couple of little facts about veganism, a vegan diet. So, legume protein, right, is essentially artificial. I kind of call it artificial protein. It's essentially the tofu of protein. You know how like tofu isn't actually meat; it's just basically synthetic protein, right?
Like a substitute.
People take these because obviously plants don't have a higher protein count as things like meat and eggs and whatnot. So people will take,
and you have to take supplements as well, don't you? You've got
so like
supplements.
Legume protein can be found in like vegan foods, special vegan foods and stuff, but in very small amounts because there's not actually a lot of it, and it can be in like tablet form and stuff, or you can get like stuff to put in the drink and stuff like that. And there are vegan protein shakes which mainly like consist of legume protein, but it can and has like been proven it can lead to increase of like trying to think of the word, like stomach diseases like leaky guts and stuff like that. So you'd be shitting yourself, like IBS and stuff like that.
Yeah, just general bowel problems.
Yeah, that's the biggest for me. That's the biggest thing. You can't do. Like, there are vegan bodybuilders out there, but I don't think you could really be a really big, like, you couldn't be like a strongman and be a vegan. No. Because you need that protein.
You'd burn your muscle mass before you've even, like, built it
you
up,
need that protein. Like, that's not me saying a vegan diet is bad, because a vegan diet has been proven to work. If you combine it with something like keto, if you're trying to lose weight, a vegan diet is a good way to go. But I think calling it, the problem is people call it a vegan diet. And a diet is something you start and it has an end date. You plan to end it. Like, there's a duration. Yeah. And you can't put a duration on being a vegan, because veganism is essentially a lifestyle change. Like, it's not, oh, I'm going to stop eating animals to lose weight. The vast majority of people that turn vegan to basically for their beliefs. Like, they're against animal cruelty and stuff like that, which is great.
Yeah,
like,
they have their own personal reasons for it.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a minute. There are a couple more facts. Soy protein sources can cause hormone disruption, more specifically in women than in men, weirdly enough, I don't know why, including estrogen and thyroid hormones, which lead to huge problems later in life and possibly even weight gain. There's a high risk of anemia due to the obscene lack of iron you're losing, which makes sense. And one that really kind of pisses me off is there's a risk of over-consuming carbs and carbohydrates, because carbohydrates in a large form, like anything in life, can be bad for you. But piles on the weight, so people that are doing this vegan diet, but they're doing it to lose weight, and they're trying to cut out certain foods that might put weight on. Carbs are worse for you in that sense, because carbs retain water much longer. They retain water better. So
carbs are generally quite bad for just eating anyway.
Carbs are good for...
Sorry, just quickly, the episode beer SMR.
Oh,
there we go.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh,
we have to have that in every episode.
Oh god, I've got shiver down my spine. Wow, that was amazing. Yeah, there's a risk of over-consuming carbs, but I think the big problem with the vegan diet, quotes around diet, like I said, a diet is something you intend to finish. It's not something you can sustain. It's kind of like Slimming World. Like, Slimming World's a great tool for losing weight. It's something I know works personally, because I've seen my mum and dad lose a combined weight of like 14 stone combined. So I know it works, but then they've also both put all that back on when they stopped Slimming World. So I know it's something that is a useful tool, but much like veganism, it's
more to regulate yourself, though.
Yeah, you can't, unless you can. I don't think people doing a vegan diet, I don't think you should do a vegan diet unless you can fully commit yourself to being a vegan.
Yeah.
If you're doing a vegan diet to hop on the trend or to lose weight, there's other ways to lose weight, right?
Like, a better method is like a protein, no carb diet.
Yeah.
Like, that's one I've
Eat
heard.
less. That's always a good one. You know, it's not fucking hard.
Portions.
Just watch what you eat.
Yeah.
Bulimia, that's a good one.
Isn't that a disease?
No, that's where you always make yourself sick.
It's kind of like it's an illness. It's an illness. I swear it's like classed as a mental illness.
What's that,
It can be.
bulimia? No, it is. It's the same with anorexia. It's a mental illness.
It's eating disorder, sorry, that's it. Why did I say
But
mental
it's
illness?
still
That's
categorised as a mental illness.
Yeah, I
though.
suppose so.
But yeah, that's a good way
So
to
you
lose
don't
weight.
catch fucking anorexia.
No, exactly. But I think
Cancer's a good dietary thing as well.
like coming away from
No, chemotherapy is good to
fucking hell,
I'm
Carl,
not even
Jesus
say what I was going
Christ.
to say.
To sum up the nutrition side of it before we get into the slating, I think that we shouldn't.
Like, there's just
There's no sugarcoating.
Holding back.
I woke up and I chose violence today. Okay, I've been looking forward to this all fucking weekend. I think nutritionally, if you want to lose weight, don't do a vegan diet, because it's not something. So there are people out there that fully believe in, like, they're fully against animal cruelty and whatnot, right? And those people are great. That's fine. I don't care if that's what you're doing it for, right? That's great. That's probably the right reason to be a vegan. There is a wrong way to be a vegan, and that's to do it to hop on a trend and do #vegans. That's to lose weight. I mean, it's a great source of losing weight, but it's not sustainable, because if you do a vegan diet and lose 3 stone, when you come off that vegan diet and you start eating calorie-dense meat, you're going to put 3 stone back on real fucking quick, because your body's not used to it.
There is also another subgroup as well. There's the people who actually can, like, for some weird reason, they've just not been able to stomach, like, the type of proteins from meat. So they're not vegetarian or vegan by choice. It's more they have to be, because there was someone at my college who, she was vegetarian and she just couldn't stomach meat for some odd reason. She just said, like, I can't actually eat it.
That could be like an autoimmune thing, though.
Yeah, so that there are people out there who, like, actually who are vegan or vegetarian by choice. So that's another thing as well. But the people who do it by choice, there's some of them out there who steak and
Well, they shove it down your
go to the
fucking
slaughterhouse
throat.
with the
Yeah,
pigs.
so this is the thing. That's interesting as a sense of like, there are vegetarians and vegans. I've never met a bad vegetarian before. Like, I've never met like a vegetarian that's an asshole. Whereas of all the vegans I've met, right, if I was to say I couldn't tell you how many because some people you don't even know. If I was to pick a number, say I met 50 vegans, I would say 30 of them have been assholes. So like 60% of the people I meet that are vegan that I know about, I would probably say are dicks. Not in a personality sense. Like, we could be, if I didn't know they were vegan, we would probably get along great, right? But it's a sense that like the second you find out and they know they're vegan, that's all they talk about. Like, a good example. There was a person like
It's like, oh, I'm vegan, don't you know?
There was a person I went to college with, right, who was a vegan. I remember we were sat in a cafeteria one day, and I didn't know, we were good mates, me and this girl. I didn't know she was vegan. Okay, so I'm sat there, and on Wednesdays they used to have they did like potato wedges and like chicken skewer things, right? And I was like, oh yes, get me some of them. So I'm eating these chicken skewers. She comes in and she like scoots away from me. I was like, you all right? And she said, oh yeah, I'm vegan. And I went, okay. What of it? You know, and she was like, well, I can't believe you're eating that in front of me. And I went, well, like, you're not eating it. What's the problem? Well, it's so insensitive for someone that like loves animals like me. And all I got from it was just like a big ego trip for her. Because everything was going back to her. She's like, yeah, but it's really insensitive in my eyes, because from my point of view, you're talking and you're eating this poor senseless animal in front of someone who doesn't care about what goes into their body. They care about keeping people alive and sustaining life. And I think you realise these animals are going to die regardless if you're a vegan or not, right? Like, the harsh truth. And listen, if you're a vegan listening to this, I don't hate you, okay? I don't hate vegans. I just think a lot of you can be very obnoxious, right? That's not speaking for everyone. That's just from my personal experience. A lot of vegans I've dealt with have been very forward, very obnoxious, and very egocentric. But
yeah, or they try to force their habits.
They try to force habits down your throat. That's the big point. But a lot of them, I'm sure, are lovely and do it for the right reasons. But there are a lot that ruin it for you guys. Much like religion last week we spoke about, it's very similar. There's a lot of nice vegans, but there's also, from my experience, there's a lot of dickheads. I don't care if you're a vegan. I don't want to be vegan because I know the health benefits I get from eating meat. I like to eat meat.
It tastes
nice. It's good for me, right?
Well, speaking of the health benefit thing, there's a protein that you can only get from eating meat that is really good for your brain. I
know what it is, but I can't remember what it's called.
But if your brain is starved of it, I think it causes like really bad fatigue, which is why when people move on to a vegan only diet, they are really tired like all the time. They've got no energy.
B12.
Like it's
vitamin B12.
It might be that.
I thought you said D12.
No, vitamin B12.
Yeah, Marshall Mathers.
Papa, couple up. Oh, fucking hell, pop a couple of them.
But like, because like speaking of that and like like sort of the proteins from meat and stuff, that I saw this influencer on YouTube. She went vegan fucking years ago. It was like a news article about it, and then she did she was set this challenge to be a carnivore for a month, and she was very skeptical to do it, but she did it, and she said, I'm not going back to being vegan because I've never felt so much better in my life. Like, she was one of those ones who didn't do it for the animal cruelty stuff. She just did it for the hype train, essentially.
Yeah, that's the wrong reason to do it in my eyes.
Yeah,
definitely.
But she was just like, yeah, I'm not going to go back. Like, I feel more awake. I feel like I've got more get up and go, stuff like that. But that's like, just... I feel like I can actually do stuff.
That's saying of like... Sorry, carry on.
And there was a study shown where a lot of vegans or vegetarians, when they're drunk, they will eat meat.
Yeah, you know...
They will actually, like, order it themselves. They won't, like, somebody won't buy it for them and give it to them. They will actually order it themselves.
There's things like that where it's like, things like that. It's like also about availability of vegan stuff as well. If you're out on a piss at like 2 a.m, there's not going to be a tofu fucking bar.
And it's fucking expensive. Vegan food's
Well,
not
no,
cheap.
but it's like it's either you stick to being a vegan and you just order chips, or you
Yeah, but chips is
actually
also
like
vegans can't have chips. I don't think. I don't fucking know. Depends what chip
Depends
it
what
is,
oil
unless
it's been
like
fried in.
fucking got the vegan stamp in.
Depends what oil has been
yeah,
fried
it depends
in.
on the oil it's fried in and stuff.
But I think
But like if you go to a chippy van, you don't get a lot of deep fried stuff. It's all mostly just off of the elephant's foot.
true.
Well, it depends.
But I think
But yeah, it depends on the van.
the
It
thing
depends what you eat.
I think the thing about like that's important, Tom. You know that saying, like that famous saying, "You are what you eat." It's not
Yeah.
like bullshit. Like it's a genuine thing in a sense that if you eat shit food, you'll get fat and you'll feel shit because of what's in it, all the preservatives and all that stuff. If you eat good whole foods, like if anyone, I'm sure people listen to this know who Joe Rogan is. He's a big like advocate of. Not, I wouldn't say he's an anti-vegan, but he's very good at like arguing his case, and he knows his shit, right? And I watch a lot of his stuff about this, and he's really into his health and shit. And he says stuff like, if you're genuinely not factory farmed food, so like if you're eating like factory farmed shit, if you're eating whole organic thing, the one example he uses is elk, because he hunts. If you hunt a wild elk, right, a wild fucking thing that's grinding all day and hustling to survive, right, from all these predators like wolves and stuff and bears, right? They're fighting their ass. They're like super athletes in the animal world. These motherfuckers are huge, right? And they got horns coming out of their head. They're badass animals. If you're eating an organic elk that's been hustling for years to survive, you're getting all the minerals from that meat that thing's been like soaking up.
Yeah.
You're getting all this fucking, like, have you ever heard that saying, like when you eat red meat, I can't remember the actual saying, but it essentially means you get solid. You know what I'm referring to. You get like a rock on.
How did I know that?
No, like that's a genuine thing. Cause like, if you eat good quality whole meats, you're getting all the goodness from that animal. Like, that's the reason it's more expensive.
It's worse in America because they have stuff like chlorinated chicken.
Yeah, that's
we're going to be getting
fucked
that
up,
soon,
isn't it?
Disgusting.
That's fucked up.
Like I'm very happy we don't have that.
Have
in
you
this
seen?
country.
Have you ever
Like,
seen?
at
we
least
will be
our
getting
food
that. We
laws.
will be getting that.
Huh?
We will be getting chlorinated chicken.
Well,
because that was an EU regulation which is now gone.
that was an EU regulation now gone, but apparently the head of the food sector or whatever is trying to.
That's not going to
stick
happen.
with-
That is not going to fucking
Jamie Oliver is
happen.
turning in his fucking grave.
Yeah, it depends on what fucking BJ does, doesn't it? But yeah, the head of the food sector
You just
is
told us what he's
wanting
gonna
to
do.
like stay with those EU regulations.
It's also
But,
what we can get, though. That's another one. I'm not going to get too sidetracked on Brexit, but the amount of shit that we've lost from it. We've lost fucking clinical trials, which are now being put back into the Netherlands, which has lost, I think, something like 6 billion for the economy.
Oh.
And people don't realise how much money shit like that's going to
Did you
lose
know
us.
in how long's it been since Brexit began? 5 years, 4 years?
5 this year.
In those 4 years, we spent more money leaving the EU
pretty sure I've
and
already
the
said this
Brexit talks than actually giving money to the EU.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I said that fact like a couple of
Just
episodes
let that sink in.
It's a bit painful.
ago. Stealing my fact.
But off of Brexit.
I've already said it on this fucking podcast.
Off of Brexit.
Have
though.
you? Oh,
Yeah.
Off of
sorry.
Back to topic.
Steal my facts.
I'm
Back to the topic at hand, lads.
Sorry.
Off.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the
Yeah,
topic. With those meats, I think the biggest problem as well, in order to eat healthily with like the healthy proteins and the healthy meats and stuff like that, especially in this country, you've got to go to farm shops or to butchers. Butchers are now becoming a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Because it's a dying trade, which I think is a shame. Because if you've ever had meat from
Mate,
butchers,
this is
it
next
is
level.
some of the finest
level.
shit ever. Like
The butchers in Lane End, Tom, you know.
Yes,
Used to
Lacey's. Oh my
slap
god!
so hard.
Have you had that old English
Yes,
sausages?
I've had it, pretty much
They
everything
are
from
to
there.
die
The
for.
best thing ever about growing up here was the butchers at Christmas. You used to put a deposit down for a turkey, mate. That thing was a beast. You were eating that for a week after Christmas. It was so nice.
Yeah, we bought. So, me and Elise were the first ones to actually go to Lacey's in my family. And we went there and bought the sausages, and we bought pork belly, and we bought like all sorts of shit. And my mum ended up going there, and she blames me for it, for the amount she spent there. She spent like over £100. She got beef fillet to make fillet steaks. She bought this massive lamb shank, which was just melt in your mouth lamb. It was amazing. And she also bought a chicken. And this chicken, I kid you not, was the size of a turkey you can buy from a supermarket. It was fucking massive. It was huge. And it was delicious. And like it goes to show, like, if you go that route to a butcher's or to a farm, the quality of the meat you get from there is far superior than what you can get in the supermarket. But the problem is, going to places like that is so much more expensive because the supermarkets undercut it with all the preservatives and all of the like cheaper stuff that they put in the meats. So like when you buy sausages, for example, they tend to, if you get like own brand, especially, or Richmond's, who are the worst for it, it's like 60% the actual meat, and then the rest is all cereals and other additives to like just fill it up. But to get the proper meat products, you've got to go higher. And then if you want free range or organic stuff, you've got to pay an even higher premium for it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so but that's always going to be, like, different labelled things always going to be more expensive and differ in price.
Yeah, it's a bit shit.
I want to go back to...
I can understand why people move on to veganism because of that.
Yeah, I get it. But at the same time, and I hate that I'm having to say this because I don't want to give this guy any sort of... I don't want to give him any sort of publicity. But if you want a true idea of the type of vegan we're talking about, there's a guy on TikTok. So if you don't have TikTok, which I highly doubt a lot of you don't, go onto TikTok.
I don't.
Or even Instagram, right? Most of you have Instagram or TikTok. Go onto Instagram and type in, his @ is like Ben2, the number 2, hell, right? And watch this guy talk about veganism. I did a video. I responded to one of his videos because it really pissed me off. And I'm not going to get into it too much because it's a sad topic. But like, you guys know I've had a lot of experience with like suicide and stuff in the past. As unfortunately a lot of people in today's age have been affected by it somehow. But I've lost good friends to it. I feel quite strongly about it. And he had a video up. And it was like, obviously he's like this really obnoxious American guy, right? And he was like, if you're not a vegan and you say you would kill someone who abuses animals, why haven't you killed yourself? And I lost my fucking mind. I went fucking nuts because he says shit like that all the time. A good example of something he said in the video was, he said, if you're not a vegan and you say you hate the Nazis, you're basically a Nazi because you're contributing to an animal holocaust, right? And I found out when I read the comments, a lot of vegans believe this, right? So you can imagine my shock when I got compared as someone who I don't hurt animals. I love animals. I love all animals, right? I just eat meat, right?
Yeah, we're omnivores. It's in our fucking
It's literally nature.
There's a reason we have canines.
Yes, exactly. But I don't hurt animals. I love animals. I love my dog. Right? I love my girlfriend's cat. I love all animals. Right? I don't hurt any animal. Some of them scare me, but I don't hurt them. Why am I being compared to a Nazi? You know, someone that actively contributed to the slaughter of 6 million human beings because of their faith. Because I eat a burger at Five Guys. Like, fuck off. Like, this is the thing Callum was getting at earlier. They shove their assumption down your throat. Like, fuck off. If you're a vegan, good for you, right? If you're a vegan for the right reasons, good for you. Fight the fight, you know. But just because you're a vegan doesn't mean the animals are still not going to die. You could have 1,000 vegans marching down New York, like Broadway, right? It doesn't matter. The same animals are still going to die. No one's going to stop killing them.
It's
doesn't make sense to me.
And like, fucking groups like PETA piss me off, man. Like, did you see when they stormed a McDonald's once, and one of them kneeled down in the middle of this McDonald's, and they poured red paint over her as if there was blood. They all ended up getting arrested.
Good,
just
shame. I'll fucking kick her head.
But the thing is, what a lot of these people do, especially the PETA followers as well, they cause more harm than they do
100%.
fighting the good fight. Because they don't do peaceful protests. They damage a lot of property.
Businesses as well.
With like the whole red paint stuff. They try to get businesses out of order and stuff like that. Like it's really bad. And I saw this really stupid video of these group of vegans. Their protest was to go in a supermarket to the butcher counter, and they were laying roses on these packets of steak and mince and stuff like that. I'm just watching it, just going, "Oh my fucking god!
Stupid,
Are you kidding me?"
My head really does spin at some of their like ideas. It really does. It really does baffle me. Like this is why I hate talking about this guy, because I don't want to give him any form of publicity. But he's got so many. After this, I'll let you listen to some of his videos so you can have your own opinion. But he's got so many stupid things that he says, and he genuinely means them with his heart, right? And he's got like a following of people that actually believe what he says. And there's a video he does where he was like, if you're eating animals, if you eat meat and you're not a vegan, you're essentially you're contributing to the rape, murder, and like imprisonment of innocent animals. And in my head, I was like, if the roles were reversed, right, and animals ate us, which some animals do, okay, do you really think they would give a fuck? Like, it's the circle. Like, the way I see it is my girlfriend said this to me, right? It's a circle of life. Like, we eat. I'm trying to think of like something. Like, animals eat animals. Like, we are animals in essence, right? And like,
yeah, we have to eat to survive.
And lions have to eat to survive, right? Lions have sharp teeth. We have sharp teeth. Granted, we also have like molars and stuff, but we have sharp teeth to tear apart meat. That's genuinely the evolution of our canine teeth, like Callum said, is to genuinely. We don't need sharp teeth to rip a fucking flower.
I mean, the fact that people are now being born without an appendix shows that we have evolved to consume more meat as well as plants, because the point of the appendix is to digest things such as grass and leaves and stuff like that, because a lot of stuff like lettuce and all of that, like our stomachs can digest that to get all the nutrients. But for a lot of the for a lot of the things that we wouldn't necessarily eat nowadays, the appendix used to be used to break all that down and to gain all the nutrients for that, but we don't need it now. Which is why they fail a lot, so you get appendicitis. You can get it removed and not have any form of problem with your body whatsoever.
Yeah.
And like I said, people are being born without them because we don't need them. It's a bit stupid to sort of go and think like, oh, we should all become like vegan and stuff like that. Like, one argument I heard is like, it's very damaging to the environment. And yes, I agree with the amount of breeding that goes on and stuff like that, especially with cows, the amount of methane that they produce, it's very, very damaging to the ozone layer. However, when I heard that argument, it was back in the days when technology hadn't progressed as to what it is now. So if everybody were to have gone vegan, the amount of land that would have needed to have been destroyed in order to grow enough crops to feed the population would have caused more damage to the environment than actually what we're doing as an omnivoric species. Because you'd have to have destroyed the habitats of animals. The amount of insects that would have had to have died, and insects are vital to the environment. Like, if all insects were to wipe out, Earth would be no more, because plants would go,
part of the ecosystem.
Animals would go. However, nowadays we can do indoor farming, and you can stack it up vertically instead of horizontally, like you have to do with land farming. That's great, except you're limited to what crops you can grow in that sense. So for stuff like tomatoes, lettuces, cucumbers, like all of those more nutritional things, it's fantastic. It's easier to move on to a vegan diet with like those types of facilities. But in order to meet stuff like the amount of wheat needed, or maize, or barley, or stuff like that, the amount of land needed to be destroyed in order to create that is substantial. So if everyone were to go vegan, like a lot of vegans want people to, it's actually more detrimental. It's more of a case of people need to eat less meat, but
still eat it.
Don't cut it out of their diet. Still eat it,
eat
but
less.
Eat less of it.
Yeah.
So less is
more.
And also food wastage.
That's the big one.
That needs to stop as well. People throwing food out when it's not finished, or shops finishing it, throwing it out when it's nearly sold out.
Tesco's are terrible for that, because they always throw out all the pastries. The amount of times, like, it sounds skivvy as fuck, but I see them take them out when I used to live in Stokey, and I used to jump the fence and just go in the bins, because it'd be on top of cardboard, and it'd be like a whole bin bag full of like fucking croissants and shit.
I'd be lying if I said I hadn't done that.
They're fine.
Well, I saw this thing about this guy in America. He worked at a bagel shop, and they would do that. Every day they throw out all the bagels that didn't get sold, and one day they were literally like in the middle of doing that, and a homeless guy came in. So he gave him a few of the bagels, because obviously the fucking guy's homeless. He's not eaten in God knows how long. Like, you know, if you're throwing it out, you might as well give it to people who need the food.
Yeah.
He got sacked.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise
because
me.
His manager and I quote unquote went, "You're feeding the animals," which is disgusting. Wow. And it's like, I don't understand, because a few restaurants have started doing this now, where they get all of the food that needs to go but can still be used, and they turn it to meals and give it to the homeless.
Yeah, it's just cursed.
I think there's a couple of restaurants in America where they actually there's this one restaurant in America that I know of anyway, where there's one day a week or a couple of days a week where at a certain time they close their store to customers, and they only let in homeless people, and they just give homeless people food. They don't accept any money from them that they've managed to raise throughout the day or the week. They basically just let all the homeless people within the area in and feed them, and then these homeless people are fed and can go on their way and try and find shelter, which I think is fantastic. And I think a lot more places need to do stuff like that, because that reduces food wastage, especially with meat, because meat is such a dangerous resource to play with. So with stuff like fish and chicken, if you put it in like the day before, put it in the freezer the day before it's supposed to go off, when you defrost that, it is still going to be funky, even though you put it in the day before, because during the freezing because it takes so long for it to freeze entirely, it's still going to go rancid.
Yeah, I get.
And then once you've defrosted it, all of those rancid cells are going to fucking emanate their stench and blah blah blah. So a lot of places where they're getting food like that need to cook meals out of it and just dish it out to the homeless. So I understand it's hard in villages and stuff, and places where there's not necessarily going to be a homeless population. There might be a couple, but it's not going to be nowhere near as bad as a town or a city. And more places need to implement that to fight that food wastage thing, and to use up the meat that is being wasted, so animals aren't dying for a reason. It's the same with hunting. When people go out to hunt to eat what they've killed, that's fine. The cunts who go out to places and just shoot things and take a photo and that's it, they can go die in the pit.
Yeah, scumbags like that, man. That brings us back to the doing it for the right reasons kind of thing. Like, you shouldn't be a vegan to hop on the trend, take a couple of Instagram photos, and then go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac. Like, it don't run like that. But I think we can definitely do another episode on vegans down the line.
Further down.
This has basically been an opinion-based thing. Now that you know our opinions, I think we can go a little bit deeper with this, because it's quite controversial. Not soon, but maybe in the near future we can go another episode about this, and maybe hopefully have someone on that is vegan, maybe, or we can actually do some proper research leading up to the episode, and do it again. But I think it's a good time to end. Can I have some ending? Trying to think of the word. A conclusion from you both.
Okay. I think all I really have to say from it is don't mind if you're a vegan, just don't ram it down my throat.
Yeah,
you know.
it's the same as
I understand about, certain regulations with food and such, but just I couldn't give a shit about your fucking opinion. So shush. That's
As
my
a meat
conclusion.
eater, yeah, for me, as a meat eater, I understand animal cruelty sucks, and there's a lot I don't agree with. But at the end of the day, we need to eat. We need to fuel our bodies, and because we are a plague on this planet, what we have to do to get the meat is necessary. At the end of the day, because there's so many mouths to feed. So, if you are upset about that, then maybe just cull some of the population. I'll happily join you.
I've got a list.
But yeah,
I'm in the same boat.
don't force your thing down my throat neither, because I still want to eat meat. I'll happily eat human if I had to. So yeah,
Right, well,
I'm all
on
for
on
it.
that
Yeah, I
note-
think I'm in the same boat. I'm all for being vegan if you're doing it for the right reasons. Not something I personally want to do, because, like I said, although you're a vegan, doesn't mean Carry the cow is going to die. Not going to die. Do you know what I mean? It's still going to die, and someone is still going to eat it somewhere. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, good for you. Keep fighting a good fight, But please, like Tom and Cam both said just now, don't force it down people's throats that don't want to hear about it. Like, some people just don't want to be a vegan because they don't want to be a vegan. You know what I mean? They enjoy eating meat, and that's fine too. You've got to understand that we're here. We're on a spinning rock in the middle of nowhere, and we are here for a fractional amount of time. And once you die, you're born, you live, you die, and then you're irrelevant and you're forgotten about. If you want to eat meat during that time, let them eat meat during that time. If you don't, then don't. No one's going to tell you not to eat fucking plants, so don't tell people to not eat meat, because at the end of the day, we're all going to be 6 feet under at some point in our lives. So just live harmoniously, because we are literally just a speck in history, and something as irrelevant as this, they've been eating meat for thousands of years. Like, something as irrelevant as this doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, so let's not kill each other over it.
Yeah. At the end of the day, live how you want. Don't expect other people to live how you
don't
want
influence
them to.
other people's lives.
Right, well, I think that's a
I
pretty
think
good episode.
that's a good way to end. We're definitely going to come back for a number 2 on this, because I do enjoy this.
Speaking of number twos.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, I was
Lovely
about to
fucking
say.
stuff. All
Right,
Right.
well, peace out.
right. See you next week, guys.
TTFN.
Adios.
Ta-ta for now.
Bye-bye.
Adios.